Welcome to MidLIFE Matters, where we celebrate women's wisdom and wit. I'm Georgian Lussier, your host, and I am delighted to introduce today's guest, Paulette Fox. Paulette is the Executive Director of Opportunities Industrialization Center of New Britain, and she has steered youth and families to brighter futures for 30 years. Welcome, Paulette.
Thank you.
Tell us about growing up in Hartford's North End, being daddy's girl helped you thrive as a person in high school.
Definitely a daddy's girl. In fact, I would have to say my dad was probably my partner. Growing up in Hartford's North End and the Still Village housing development, not knowing that a housing development is not where people lived. I just assumed that everybody lived in public housing. Very integrated. Grew up with a variety of different ethnic backgrounds, always learning from my father. Neighborhood was, again, very multicultural. Never understood or realized that outside of my world that there was a lot of discrimination and racism going on. Easton was a rude awakening because I never experienced racism. When I went to Easton, Willimantic was it was a small blue-collar town. We were 75 African and Latino youths on campus. I remember I was walking home one night, and the first time somebody called me the N-word. I was like, who are they talking about, And I realized they were talking about me. And it really made me uncomfortable. In '69, it was interesting that unfortunately these young ladies didn't really have any experiences with African Americans. They were not in their communities. So I rallied around the 75 students, and we actually formed a Black Panther chapter on campus. And again, I think for me, that was that whole Black Power, Stokely Carmichael, Huey Newton, Bobby Seale. I began to find myself. I began to realize that it's a world out there that you have to learn about who you are and the great leaders. It was not just Black Power, but it was also the women's movement. It was also the hippie movement was going on.
There was a lot going on.
It was a whole bunch.
Yeah.
68 and 69 and 70 were a time of change. And I was glad that I was a part of that, but it woke me up to reality real quick.
OIC of New Britain provides employment training services.
I serve probably about 350 youth. Between the ages of 11 to 21.
You really have stressed in conversations we've had the importance of collaboration.
Yes. If you don't collaborate, you will evaporate.
Okay.
And that has become my philosophy. I've been to probably about 40 of the states in the United States, and I've had a chance to go to Africa, and that was another rude awakening for me, to actually go to Senegal, which I feel is where my people originated from, and to stand on Goree Island and to actually hear how slaves were brought here on the ship. Very emotional, very emotional, but an opportunity for me to realize that we have great opportunity in the United States. And I think everybody ends up someplace because of God. I'm very spiritual and understanding that God has a destiny. But for me to go home and experience Africa and then to come back and appreciate everything that I have here.
And you share that with the people that you work with and the families you support,
Every
right?
day, absolutely. You need people in your life. You cannot go through life without some positive people. You need to have girlfriends. You need to have mentors. You need to align yourself with positive people and stay away from the negative. And I was blessed from an early age. I've always had positive people telling me you can do, from my father, who always thought I was gorgeous, even when I was awkward and a tomboy. And I would tell my 25-year-old self that all the experiences, the people that you met, encourage you to be a better you. And at 40, I knew that I was arriving, I was coming into my own, and it's never too late. It's never too late to realize that you have skills, that you have talents, and it's nice when people can tell you that you're okay, and you're feeling okay with yourself. And where I am right now, I feel comfortable.
Well, thank you so much, Paulette, and I encourage you to tune in to hear other fascinating women share their stories on MidLIFE Matters. I'm Georgian Lussier, your host, and thanks for joining us.